Hey Branson, how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself, sir?
So far, so good. Try not to get blown out by all this rain after so much dryness.
Yeah, it's a creek by my house. Well, my house is right by those 400 hidden graves they found.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Did you know it was there?
yeah, like my parents told me that, and like older black people used to say that, and it was kind of like a wise tale, like you be driving,
Yeah.
like be quiet. Um, those dead people by that creek gonna get you, and you look over to the creek, you didn't see anything. I
Ah!
went I went back there with the ECU team, and it's like 400 plus graves
Mind blowing.
from like the people are buried there from like 1900 to 1930. So you got to think 400 people in a town that probably had 900 people in it. Something that many people dying that quickly. Something went on.
Yeah, you think that would come out, that isn't something that could be hidden forever. But I don't know. I'm to the point now where I believe anything.
Yeah, I'm about
Yeah.
there with you.
It's just crazy all the shit that's coming out. I don't know.
That
But
would I could tell you something that could really blow your mind one day if you think that's crazy.
well, my since I don't have much of a mind, that won't be that hard to do. Let's switch subject to something a little less scary or whatever. Tell me more about what you did after you listened to Warren and what your results were. I can't stop thinking about it.
Okay, so when after I listened to Warren, I went to the My Google Business,
Which
and
is free, right?
it's free,
Okay.
and it says like it says something like knowledge panel at the bottom, and if you log into your Google account first, then you can go back and you can like claim that name. So you
I
claim
see.
the business name, and what they're going to do is send you a little number in the mail. It takes about 7 days, which I had did it right before. So mine came like a couple days after our meeting.
I
But then
gotcha.
you put that number in, and put it in your address, and then you go in and start like building your business profile.
Kind
So
of
what I found,
like filling out a website or something. You just put in the,
it's not like a website. Like when you're going, say your family wants Pizza Hut, and you put Pizza Hut in Google, and then all the information falls to the side. You just press a button to call Google. I meant call Pizza Hut from Google.
right.
It does all that to your business.
Wow. For free.
Okay, so then if you can post your product. So I've gotten it. So once you start the initial part, then it starts building on top of it. So now I make posts. So these posts are coming from there, and it's my products, my services, thing that's coming up. Um, and what it does is it goes into Google, and like now when you go into Google, all it is my name, Big Bougie, and you put that in, and it also gives you the blue check, which means you're a verified business, which other businesses want to deal with because a lot of other things happen once I started getting that. So
Oh, wow. And how long did all this take? About 5 days, you figure?
I'm gonna say 5 to 7 days, and then once I got the code and started working on it, like a day to get it going. I'll see if I can screenshot this and put it in. Um, so basically to just show you the learning from the class, one of my
Let me make you co-host so you can share your screen.
okay.
Okay. Should be able to have the controls now.
Okay. Share screen.
What we're talking about here, for those who are just joining us, Branson followed the tips of Warren Allen about Google My Business and some of that stuff. So he's just sharing some of the success that he's had with that. He's going to share some stuff on his screen.
So this is the one that I noticed, if you can see the screen.
Yeah,
that I
I see it.
noticed. So basically, that's a month ago. And when I got the number, which like June 11th, 16th, like it's like running up. So all these numbers are in a month.
Wow.
Rick. So the impressions, and that's not with me even putting any money behind it. So if I put money behind it, and it's also finding like the words that go along with your business, what I found also is those other words that are kind of like the similes with your business.
Uh-huh.
That once I started putting those words into my all in my tags for my blogs and everything, and started sending stuff back, it started sending stuff to this video, and like in 1 week, like I was kind of blown up. Well, I started seeing the growth, but by the time it got here, like it was, and I was getting traffic to all my sites. So then that made me go from learning about my Google business to putting the Google site kit on every site that I work on, to tie this in now with the AdSense sales, so that when those people come, the AdSense sales also generate money also for the business.
So let me just make sure I understand what I'm seeing here. So you back in May, early part of June, you had, like in your example there, I'm trying to follow your cursor, but you had like 1,800 whatevers. I don't know if those are impressions or what they
I
are.
don't know. Let's see if I can pull up see if I can pull up that one video. Yeah, I think I can right here. So I use a video that had been there since 2012 that
Uh-huh.
basically had no traction.
What are those? What's that number? Is that users or viewers?
Though that's the okay, I'll do it from this way. So this is basically the impressions that people are coming to the video.
Okay.
And then this is actual viewership.
Okay. Yeah, that's more useful, I think.
Yeah, so this is the viewership.
So
as
you're
I'm-
going from a couple hundred, 300, it looks like a high of around 500, and then all of a sudden you're at 1,600 and so forth, right?
right. And then it's still like it's going down some because I haven't been doing it because I was sort of working on something else. But all I'm doing is finding where it's trending at, what's going along with the trend, and then taking those feeds and taking what's driving this video and putting it into my sites.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty
Yes.
cool. I like that. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody. Hope everyone had a good weekend and enjoying the rain. Those of you who care about that. I know it's good for our hay fields. That much I know. So today I'm going to talk kind of generally about marketplaces. And for those of you who might not know what that is, or a refresher, what we've seen in the last few years, I guess, particularly the last couple, is we've seen kind of new places where you might be able to reach customers that go beyond your particular website or your particular social media, and go to a place where you're part of other group, if you will, that also are in the same kind of place. And these are generally third-party sites, meaning it's not you and it's not your customer, it's a third party, and they're enabling transactions between you and your and customers, not necessarily your customers, but customers who find you on this marketplace. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about one that I've just been working with. I know Chris Neal has done some work with them or is in the process of it. So I'm gonna share my screen here in a second. Grant, will you take care of letting folks in, please?
Dennis, Mike,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Dennis, I'm on, since you're talking about marketplace, Doorstep today, I'm gonna let Hayden sit in because I'm gonna let him take over handling the door, since he's doing the market stuff. I'm gonna let him take over handling the door that way, and so if I disappear on you, he's still here.
Okay. Yeah, so let's I'm going to start with kind of an overview here. Let's see if I can figure this out. We'll give it a try here. So can everybody see my screen, which is I think it says the world's top online marketplaces for 2021?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to make it bigger. So hopefully, I don't know if that makes it bigger on your screen or not, but I'll try. Okay, so what we've seen, and some of this might surprise you, but if I were to ask you, who is the largest online retailer out there? And I think almost everybody would agree and would say Amazon, right? Amazon's the largest retailer.
Alibaba.
Actually, Amazon is in fact barely a retailer. What they really are is they're a marketplace. They're a third-party marketplace, believe it or not. So just to give you a little more context, 47% of all e-commerce sales actually take place on online marketplaces instead of individual websites, which I was surprised how big that number is. This list here, which I'll post in Slack, is helpful, and I think it will open your eyes to different things you might be able to do. But what's interesting about this is they picked 155 marketplaces that get more than 1 million visits per month. Okay, so think about that for a minute. 1 million visits a month. Okay, so I'm going to go down here a little bit. And the definition of what is an online marketplace, there are many sellers and buyers, right? So you might be a seller with your website or your stuff, and they're buyers, and they're all coming to the same website. And it's not your website, it's the marketplace's website. The other characteristic is people can buy stuff and they don't have to leave the site. They don't have to go somewhere else to finish the transaction. So this is just if you Google this, you'll go insane because there's so much information on this. But this is helpful, I think, for context. So Amazon is actually an online marketplace. And I believe this to be true. Something like 70% of the transactions on Amazon are actually by small businesses that are in the marketplace, not by Amazon directly. Think about that for a minute, right? So they started this marketplace in the year 2000, and now they dominate the space. Everyone thinks of Amazon as an e-commerce retailer, but they are in fact a marketplace. And you yourself can participate in Amazon in a number of ways, which we'll explore in a second. Also on this list, I'm going to just point out a couple of others. Second is eBay, right? eBay, 1.7 billion visits a month compared to Amazon's 5 billion. eBay started off, you might remember, back in 1995, before there was electricity. They were known for selling used stuff, right? People sold weird stuff like marbles or weird stuff, trading cards, baseball cards, etc. Actually, eBay is now wide open, and you can sell new stuff, you can sell used stuff, you can sell all kinds of stuff on eBay, just like you can on Amazon, perhaps. Some of these others you may not be familiar with. Again, I'll post this, but people like Mercado Libre, Rakuten, AliExpress, Shopee, these are marketplaces in other countries, okay? So, for example, Rakuten is primarily in Japan, although they do have a US operation also. I happen to know that. AliExpress is a Chinese marketplace. Here's Walmart, walmart.com. Get a load of this. So Walmart here is doing 410 million visits a month. Walmart, when the pandemic started, had 75,000 SKUs on their walmart.com. SKUs are products. When the pandemic started, they decided to open it up, and now they have over 50 million SKUs on walmart.com. And walmart.com is also available to all of you to sell through them should you want to. And no, it's not free, but it's something to know about. Some of you may be familiar with Etsy. Etsy is a little bit different than some of the others. Etsy's quite large. It's still almost 400 million visits a month, but Etsy also has kind of a niche, if you will. They want the products that you sell there to ideally be handmade by you, or even perhaps designed by you, but maybe made for you by somebody. But it's more of an artsy crafts, small things, and they have over 3 million sellers on that platform all around the world. The other thing that they have, which is kind of cool, if you sell your product, if you get accepted to sell on there, and it's not that hard to get on there, but they actually give you the tools to sell globally. So you can sell and ship globally using the Etsy platform, not just in the US, which I think is kind of cool. Tabo, you may have heard me talk about this before. Tabo is kind of like the Etsy of China. It's more small stuff, a lot of stuff made in the rural areas in China. Like you'll find shoes that are made in these little villages or just weird stuff. Tabo is kind of the Etsy of China, as opposed to some of the other ones like AliExpress and some others that you'll hear about. But as you can see here, there are a lot of these marketplaces on here, and these visits, just if you just think in terms of the amount of money you would have to spend on ads to get this kind of traffic, or even any traffic to your website, is really tremendous. So Target's another one that's available to regular folks to sell. Target, I would argue, even though they kind of compete with Walmart, might be a little bit higher end, perhaps a little bit better demographic customer, perhaps. I don't know that for sure. Wayfair, you no doubt have gotten emails from Wayfair. I think every human being gets emails from Wayfair. It's primarily furniture and stuff like that, but they sell all different kinds of merchants, not just their own. So that's another site with pretty big traffic. Just kind of going down through here. Mercari, I don't know if any of you heard of that. Mercari has a big US presence. They sell a lot of used stuff, kind of like eBay used to be. It's more of a place where you sell stuff you don't want anymore, or stuff that you came across and you want to get rid of it. They're a pretty good site, a pretty high quality site. And as you can see, there's just a whole bunch on here. All different countries, weird names I don't understand. Poshmark is another used clothing store you might be familiar with, some of you. And the list kind of goes on and on. You've heard of Overstock. I was amazed to see Kroger has a standalone shipping site called Kroger Ship. And they will sell products for small food manufacturers. Even if you're not in Kroger, you can sell on Kroger's website, which I thought was pretty cool. Newegg is kind of electronic parts, camera stuff, computers, a little bit different. Bandcamp is more downloadable music. Branson might be familiar with that. That's a place where bands will put their music and you can download it, sometimes for free, sometimes they charge. Anyway, just kind of going through this list, you can just see that there are a lot. Barnes and Noble, you can sell stuff on there. And I'll keep going through this and I'll post this also, like I said, but you can just see that there are literally essentially an unlimited number of marketplaces where you can sell products and services. How about Goodwill, right? Goodwill online all over the place with almost 10 million visits a month. You know, who knew? Real Reel's another used clothing. Used clothing is really hot as an item. Some of these I just haven't had time to check out or look at. Maybe some of you are familiar with it, but you know, it just goes on and on and on and on, as you can see. Just goes on and on and on. So what's interesting about this to me is really the idea that you may not necessarily know which of these, or there may be others I don't even know about, is really good for you, right? And the beauty of almost all of these, from what my understanding is, I'm going to go through one called Doorstep in a second, which is new, which is why it's not on the list. In general, very little cost upfront. Almost all of these marketplaces work on a commission basis when something is sold. And in general, if I had to generalize, I'll leave Amazon aside for a moment, but in general, it's about a 15% commission of what sells. And depending on the marketplace, that could include the credit card fees in some cases. In others, the credit card fee is additional. It just depends on the country and the marketplace, whether they charge you that or not. It's more a function of laws in each country that guide that more than policy. You know, like, for example, just one issue is if you're selling something on the marketplace, in order for you to be what's called the merchant of record, meaning it's your sale and not someone else's, you've got to have some skin in the game and you've got to have some liability. And that's where that credit card fee goes. That's covering the risk of, you know, phony products and all the other kind of stuff. It's part of what you pay in a credit card fee. So sometimes that's included and sometimes it's not. Just to kind of go back up to the top here, just for a second. If we go to Amazon, I just want to show you a couple things about Amazon that you may not know. Let's see if this takes us to Amazon. Okay, good. Okay, so some of you may know that right now Amazon has Prime Day going on today and tomorrow, and that's a bunch of their stuff that's for sale. You know, I don't know if they're good sales or not. I don't really keep up with Amazon. I'm not a huge fan of Amazon. It's not something I spend a lot of time on, but I want to show you something that you probably didn't know about. So Amazon has just launched something called, well, I don't know what they call it. They call it Support Small. And it's essentially small e-commerce businesses from around the United States. And they have a special page just for them. And the requirements for this are nowhere near as difficult as it is to be on the big Amazon. If any of you have ever tried, you know there's a lot of steps involved, setting up a Seller Central account, yada, yada, yada. This is specifically for small businesses. And it's new, and they do all kinds of stuff. They feature brands every day, or sometimes even more often. These are deals, Prime Day deals from small business. So what they're doing is they're partnering with the small business to promote your products to the Amazon Prime membership, which is unbelievable. You really think about it, how many of those that there are. And these are just different kinds of products that small businesses might make. Here's a soap company, you know, all kinds of stuff that is not necessarily on the big Amazon. You know, it's just on the small business site. So you'll find a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of things that you might not otherwise find on a place like Amazon. And it just so happens at this moment, there's 300,000 small businesses on this marketplace, just in a very short period of time. And they have arts and crafts, all different categories you see here on the left. But like if we pick this product here, for example, so this is a small company called Lume, L-U-M-E. They got a number of products on here. It ships with Prime, right? Free shipping and free returns. And this is only for Prime members. I don't know the financial particulars of how all this works, but my understanding is they make it so you can do it, so you can afford it. It isn't trying to get money out of you. What they're trying to do is avoid legislation worldwide that's coming after them for being a monopoly. So I think this is a direct effort to argue, hey, we're not a monopoly, we're helping all these small guys. I think that's what's behind this. I might be cynical, but you know, it's right there now. I don't see what's small about Dove, right? They're selling other stuff with it. This is more products related to this item. So these are products maybe a little bit more in keeping, but I don't trust them, you know, who knows, but one thing I was going to do just for fun, let's see if we can go back. And this is for let's see what comes up with pecans. So here I'm in the small business section of Amazon. I am not on the main Amazon. And look, they have a lot of pecans, I'm assuming, from small businesses that sell and or make pecan products. So I think it's kind of cool. I don't know if Karen recognizes any of these brands or not, but can't hurt, right? And I don't know if these prices are high or low either. Karen, you have any comments about that?
Myself. Yeah, I'm interested in packaging right now.
Yeah, like this
So
one here is
it's-
really good.
It's a good source to, you know, to look through these for that reason.
Yeah,
And I don't know the pounds, 5 pounds. You never know if they're fresh either.
yeah. They say they're raw,
Yeah.
whatever that means. Raw and old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are from Georgia, dry roasted, etc. I like that packaging. I think it's very bright looking.
That
very-
is attractive. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, they got, you know, a bunch of pages of this, of pecan related products,
Mhm.
just in this small business section.
That's good.
So it's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
So I did want to share that with everybody. Let's see here. My computer's acting a little funny. Let's see if they have martial arts stuff. No, they got some on there. Martial art jokes. That'd be good to sell, I guess. 60 of them. Who knew there's such a big thing? Yeah, so here's stuff related to martial arts. So I think in general, I think they have, you know, if you're a small business and you want to see traffic, I'm going to share with you one other thing I learned in my research for all this. You're not going to believe this. So when I first started looking at this, I thought, well, you know, small business not necessarily might not want to go on Amazon because it's a high cost, right? They take a large percentage.
Yeah.
That's the typical response I got, but I learned something that I didn't know. The main search engine for products is not Google, it's Amazon.
Oh.
People use Amazon to search for products, even if they don't necessarily, they're not going to buy on the site. It's the #1 site for a whole bunch of categories. mostly related to small business for discovery, product discovery. People figure like, well, I'll go to Amazon and see if it's there. And it introduces them to concepts. And even if they don't end up buying there, they can still find it there, which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I'm going to show you. Here is another place on Amazon called Amazon Handmade. And this is a direct competitor with Etsy, right? They're going after Etsy directly. So this is the same sort of thing. It looks like Etsy. It has same sort of thing. You know, little products that you might see. Let's take a look at this category just for the fun of it. So here's a cup and mug. This might be something like our friend from Simple and Sentimental might be selling, right? This is the kind of stuff that Taylor sells on her site, I think, right? So yeah, so here's you know, it's an alternative. It's sold by a company called Lofty Pop. And then here's another thing that we haven't talked a lot about. They call it FBA, Amazon FBA. It's yet another category of working with Amazon. And what that means is Amazon fulfills the order. So you actually ship your products to Amazon and they warehouse it, pick, pack, and ship, and handle customer service for you. So what a lot of people use that for, I've learned, if you're a small company, let's just say, I'm making this up. Let's say you're making chocolates, okay? And you're making those chocolates at home or maybe in some sort of kitchen that you've rented out, and you're cranking making these chocolates. And to make those chocolates and get them ready to sell is a lot of work. And especially if you start making a lot of sales. So now, not only are you making it, but you're packaging it and you're shipping it and you're doing customer service. You're responding to emails, lost orders, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people, when they get to a certain point, they switch to fulfilled by Amazon. And Amazon does all that work for you. Obviously, it isn't free, but it is, if you're doing enough volume, apparently it makes sense. So again, I haven't really delved into it, but I think it makes sense because I've seen a lot of small businesses use that, fulfilled by Amazon. Also, just as an FYI, if you ever hear the term 3PL, 3PL is basically fulfillment. And these are companies, if you go into Google and you put North Carolina 3PL companies, you will get a list of companies that do this in North Carolina. These are companies that pick, pack, and ship your product and handle customer service, much like this fulfilled by Amazon. I know there's a pretty big operation in Tarboro. One of the biggest in the country, I believe, is in Tarboro, and a lot of people use them apparently. And I'll try to get the name of it. I talked to their CEO at one point, but they're so busy he didn't bother calling me back. But they are pretty big, and a lot of food people in North Carolina use them. So anyway, that's just something to know. As you scale up, there are different decisions you can make to help you grow. You don't always have to do every single thing yourself. And the other beauty of this is it's a variable cost. It's not a fixed cost. It's not an upfront cost. It's based on your sales. So by definition, that's easier to take than an upfront fee. Let's see here. Let's look at, see, I think a lot, well, here's one, bridesmaids gifts. I think this is specifically what Simple and Sentimental does. I mean, it's one of their biggest areas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her on here, you know, wouldn't surprise me at all. But this same kind of thing, you know, that she sells, all kinds of personalized gifts. So it's just something to keep in mind that it exists. Amazon Handmade, Amazon Small Business, yada, yada, yada. And Amazon Fulfilled by Amazon. And there are tons of other programs. There are even Amazon programs where you sell in particular countries. Let's say you want to sell in the United Kingdom or in Germany, or you can do that with Amazon. You can pick markets like that and go directly at it. Any comments, observations at this point? Okay. Before we go to Doorstep Market, I'm going to do one other thing, which I think you guys will like. So one thing that people do in retail is if something works, they copy it, right? Because retail, generally speaking, is lower margin than other businesses. So if somebody figures out something, they all copy it. We just went through several examples of Amazon copying other successful business models. Well, what's really amazing about this, and I'll post this article, this is a subscriber only, but I'll post it as a PDF so everyone can see it. So what happened during the pandemic, giant brands started becoming marketplaces also. So Express, who you might be familiar with, Urban Outfitters, J. Crew, and a whole bunch of others are now selling third-party products on their websites. So that's another opportunity for you to explore. And that could be someone like, you know, I don't know if it's true, but somebody like 264 Shoes advertises on TV in Greenville all the time, as one example. Or maybe some of these other sites, maybe I'm not even sure who else there is, but maybe some of those folks would be interested in partnering with you for a promotion, right? Do a promotion, put it on their website, see if that can drive some traffic for both of you. This particular example here of Express, which I found really interesting, is they're using this to expand into categories that they're currently not in. So they have categories on their website that they themselves don't sell. It's only third-party brands selling it, which I think is just really, really interesting. So here's the example they give here is a small company called Mighty Well that makes products for people who have medical problems. So they make a backpack that holds an IV bag, for example. They are selling on third-party sites. So they are on the Express website. And it's given them around 20% of their sales compared to Amazon, which gives them 15% of their sales. So I think that's very interesting. That, you know, I wouldn't have thought about that, but a lot of people are doing that. Right now on Amazon, I think this says basically 60% of sales on Amazon are from small business, not from Amazon itself. Walmart, we know, has a marketplace like Amazon. But there's a lot going on in this space. So I thought that was very interesting. And there may be some companies locally. It could be a restaurant, people who are advertising on TV or in the newspaper, or, you know, you feel like they're reaching some people. Maybe you could approach them about a deal, some kind of co-promotion, and see if you can't make some sales with them. Okay. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share a site that I've talked about before and that some of you have started working with. And it's called Doorstep Market. And this is a new company. They are national in scope, but they have some things that are different than some of the other marketplaces. First of all, as you look at the site, I think you can tell that it's pretty well branded. This is not a low-end site. This is more higher-end products than an Etsy, for example, or even an Amazon. So it may be not everybody will find this useful, but there's a bunch of products on here, like this one here. This is a soap company. And so what they do is they do a lot to promote you as the maker. So in this case, they got to meet the maker. Person's in Richardson, Texas. A little bit what they do. They give you the ability to contact the maker directly. They have, a story, good pictures. And then what they do is they also will promote other products that you are selling. And what's unusual about this is a couple of things. One, if you list your products on Amazon, or if you list your product on Etsy and it sells, guess what? You don't get the email of the customer. They keep it. Most marketplaces do not let you have the information about the buyer. That is not true of Doorstep. At Doorstep, they even take it a step further. When you sign up for Doorstep, there's no fee. There is a 15% commission when you sell something, but you actually hook up your credit card processing to your account. So you do not have to wait for them to pay you like you do the other marketplaces. It's just like your own website from that point of view, except of course they're taking their commission. So you get the payment directly without going through the process of accounts and settling and all that kind of stuff. It just comes directly to you. And you as the maker, you also control this whole page. You control what the text says, you control the pictures. Everything you see on this page is managed by the merchant, not by Doorstep Market. They see themselves as a true marketplace. They are providing you the platform, but it's up to you to be a success on the marketplace by making your pictures attractive, by your pricing, whatever it is you might do. So it's kind of a cool business model, I think. Let's see what they have just for the fun of it on pecans. I've got pecans on my mind, apparently. So here are the companies that sell pecans on Doorstep Market. And it looks like a handful, not a whole bunch. You can even get pecans on your salmon if you want, I guess. But here is, like, I think this is a pretty cool looking package. It looks like they have two sizes, a 4 ounce and a 2 ounce. These guys are outside of Boston. So, it's pretty cool. So the beauty of it is you can sell as many products as you want. There's no listing fees. It's just a commission when you sell. There's no upfront fee. And they have about 1 million people that are regulars to the site. Now, the thing that's a little bit complicated about that, you'll see up here, they've got regions: Hudson River, San Francisco Bay Area, New England, Los Angeles, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes, you got to pick the region, I guess. I don't know. I think like pecans, well, if you put pecans in the search, it brings all pecans back no matter which market it's located in. But you might find that there are more people looking for pecans in the South and Southeast, maybe than in California or whatever. I don't know. I haven't figured all that out. But I think it's a very nice display. And the beauty of this is you don't even have to have a website to do this. You can just use this. And it's a lot cheaper, right? If you want to get started with online sales, perfect place to start. You can control your brand, control your pictures, control your story, but you don't have to do all that other stuff. You're going to be using their infrastructure to sell your products. Now, I'll tell you there's two, I don't know if they're problems or realities that you have to deal with. Since you're responsible for putting all this stuff on it, no one's going to bother you if you don't do it, right? So if you sign up and you don't send them any pictures, you're not going on the site. It's that simple. So you got to send the pictures, and you got to hook up to their PayPal. It's easy. If you have PayPal, you just hook yours up, but you got to do that. They're not going to do that for you. If you don't do it, you don't go on the site. So it's very self-service. No one's going to bother you. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. They don't really care in that sense. But it's a good place to put your toe in the water for a marketplace. And I'm working with them. They have actually hired me to consult with them on some things that they're doing. I'm trying to help them in other areas of their business, because they're trying to grow this into, actually, they'd like to go worldwide with it, is their hope. But right now they're just in the US. And I like it. I think it's a very high quality site. It looks good to me. And the fact that the maker controls the stuff, I think is, oh, the other thing you can do on here that's really cool. Let's see here. And this, I think, some of you all should do. So for example, these are, you can host experiences on here, right? So this one is a caramel truffles baking class, right? You make 20 truffles, blah, blah, blah. That's all done online. And they have a pot, a show, whatever that is, all kinds of different product baking. They also have, and this might really be interesting to some of the folks in agriculture, that I think is kind of neat. This is a cheese lovers tour. Now, this is not an online tour, this particular one. This one, you actually go to a number of cheese companies in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it's been incredibly popular as we've come out of the pandemic. People really like stuff like this. They also have a one for food. You go and eat at different restaurants, kind of a tour. But you could put something like this together. You could get together with several of your friends and associates, might be a couple of restaurants or specialty food manufacturer, and you could create a little agriculture tourism thing and put it on here and promote it, you know, for no cost, no upfront cost. You can just put together the program. And putting together a physical program might be a little bit more work than doing it online. This one they just put on this weekend. This is a guided fly fishing trip. And they sold 50 of them in the first hour to people buying them as Father's Day, people who hadn't bought something for their father. So this is up in upstate New York in the Catskills at a particular creek. And you go on a half-day trip learning how to fly fish. But you could do horseback riding, you could do hiking, you know, pretty much anything that you want to do like that. The other thing they do is, so they actually have a full-blown editorial team that works on content. Like they have stories about the makers, and these rotate through. This is kind of what we saw on Amazon about Meet the Maker, but like this is a feature on supporting Black-owned businesses in New England. So they went through and figured out who were Black-owned, and they wrote stories about them. And these are very popular. This is a way to learn about folks in a way you otherwise wouldn't be able to.
Dennis, I have a question.
Yeah.
Doorstep, it's a nice package. Do you know if, since you're working with them, do you know if they've exposed their API so that we could operate our own marketplace? For instance, with what we're trying to set up, we want multiple kitchens with one ordering marketplace. I
Yeah.
could see a similar solution for Branson, who's going to be promoting several products for people, and he wants to run a marketplace with
Yeah.
just those products. Or for Karen, who has several
I got it.
friends
Yep, I got it. So basically, the answer is they don't, and I'll tell you why. So there are platforms out there that, for example, that Doorstep uses, which you could also use to do the exact same thing. So Doorstep is really no different than any of you. It's a group of people and they're trying to sell stuff. And they actually don't have any warehouse. They don't touch any of the products. It's all done by the makers. So they actually use a software called Magento, Megento. Magento is a multi-vendor marketplace software solution. Okay, so what you would do is you would contact, and Magento is owned by Adobe. So you would contact Magento and learn about their things that they offer for you, exactly what you're looking for. There's also another one that Doorstep used before and for unrelated reasons stopped using, called Share Tribe, SHARE Tribe. Share Tribe is, I believe, in Finland or Norway or something like that. They're a little bit hard to deal with because they don't speak English real well, but they're really dirt cheap. They're all open source. And if you do have development capability, they're a great choice to build on if you have the ability. They don't have near the bells and whistles that Magento has, but if you've got developers, that might be a better choice for you than Magento.
Do they have any plans to get into that market space? Because
Believe it or not, they
not
have,
everybody really wants to, jump feet first into their own development. If there was a turnkey, I think a lot of people would be very interested in that concept.
they have no developers at Doorstep. So
Do they want some?
literally they don't. So they're just not in that business. These are people, they're primarily from the publishing world. They publish magazines all around the world. They're not developers and they're not really in the business of creating the technology. But there are, if you start to dig into it, you'll find there are a lot of people now working on the marketplace software stuff. Share Tribe and Magento are two. There are others that you could look into. Here's the thing that makes it really complicated, just so you know. The complication is over from the legal perspective of merchant of record. When you start a marketplace, if you think about it, if you look at Amazon, for example, Amazon does not let you use your credit card processor on Amazon. You must use Amazon. And there's a lot of legal reasons for that, but there's also the practical reason of managing hundreds of thousands of merchants and trying to deal with that insanity if everyone had a different merchant account. So Magento is the only one that I'm personally aware of that even allows the option of having a merchant account separate from the main. They're literally the only one I've heard of and that I know of. Literally everyone else, Etsy, Amazon, Target, Walmart, all of them use their own credit card processor for legal reasons. So I think you're gonna have a hard time scaling a marketplace that allows bring your own merchant processing, unless you have really robust client services and are really ready to help. Because there's a lot of issues with accepting credit cards online, not the least of which is fraud. Returns is another giant issue. State tax collection is another issue. Federal country tax collection, that goes on and on and on. So
We've been digging into it, and for those reasons, that's why we're kind of looking for a turnkey. So if you do run across any, that would be great.
Well, Magento is turnkey. Magento, that's what they do. They're a software seller and they offer that service. So Share Tribe and Magento both are software companies that provide this as a service. So those are two I know. I'm just saying that my experience of getting that final little step to let the merchant use their own merchant account is a tough one. And most people have given up on it. Doorstep has primarily been active in just a few places, New England, San Francisco, and they've been able to deal with a relatively small set of legal issues. So they've been able to do it pretty well. But I can tell you, if they go to the EU, they are not going to be able to do that because the EU has a whole different ballgame of privacy and issues. I don't see it continuing with Doorstep. forever. Maybe it's fine for now, but I don't see it long term.
Are they planning to come up with a different location ticker there on the top? Because as a seller, I like Doorstep. I like the presentation, but the idea of sending my clients to a place that immediately lists, a bunch of locations that are not in my area at all would be a little concerning.
Well, yeah, it's one of the things they hired me to consult with them on. So what I'm telling them is drop that completely and just go national. And
Or pick up, where the IP is coming in from that's hitting the page and give them some
Really,
locals.
the truth is that people selling online are selling all over the world. It really,
True.
it's just the way it is. So what I told the CEO, I said, look, the reason it started like this is because they have magazines in all those markets. So they're able to promote each area through their magazine. It's called Edible, if you've ever heard of it. So there's Edible Hudson Valley, Edible Manhattan, et cetera, Edible San Francisco. So that's why they did that. But it's going to go away, I hope, if they listen to me. People don't always listen to me, I can tell you that. But I told them just exactly what you said. It's an unnecessary complication. And as I explained to them, in our area of North Carolina, there is no edible I think there's an edible Asheville, and that's it. It has zero name recognition. It's not something that anyone in North Carolina spends a second thinking about. So it's lost, and certainly in Florida and other places. So yeah, it's a good point, and we'll see what happens. But I think they should just get rid of it altogether and just be Doorstep Market, period. And that way they can go anywhere, and you can go anywhere, which is, I think, better. The search engine, if you list with them, the search engine will find you no matter what market you're in. So they don't just search the market. So like I did with pecans, I showed everybody selling pecans on the whole doorstep, even though a lot of them were located in specific geographies. But anyway, it's new. They're testing stuff out. What's going to end up happening if they're successful, they're going to start charging some kind of monthly membership fee instead of it being free. That would be my guess. Like Etsy and some of the others, they have listing fees and so forth. So it's a good opportunity for now. It may help you get your product and name recognition out to a broader audience. Perhaps, Any other thoughts, ideas? They have some really cool products on here, really cool businesses. If you're looking for ideas for businesses, it's a good place to kind of troll around some really remarkable. Like, did you ever think of vinegar as a business? I never did. Right? This guy is doing vinegar like to beat the band, right? Who knew? So, any questions on that? Okay. Well,
A lot of info.
yeah, sorry, dumping my bucket on you guys. I'll post these links in the Slack channel. So this week we don't have class on Wednesday because I've been asked to give the keynote at a North Carolina Association meeting, and I just can't make it work with this class. So I apologize for that. It's the Specialty Food Association of North Carolina. So it should be fun. And if any of you are members, pretend you don't know me, don't boo or anything like that. Tomorrow, we're going to have Taylor on here from Simple and Sentimental. And boy, she's terrific. And have your questions ready. She has actually done all this stuff already. She's, I think, in her third year. I could be wrong, could be the fourth year. She started as a freshman at ECU, just recently graduated, just bought a building, has, I don't know how many full-time employees, 15 or more, just selling like crazy. And she has tried a lot of stuff that you're thinking about trying or have tried. And don't be bashful to ask her, which program do you use for this or that? What do you use for email? What do you think of Etsy? Just so you know, from a background perspective, she built her business on Etsy. She did not have a website. She started with Etsy. And she got to the point, I believe, where she's doing well over $1 million a year of sales on Etsy. So you can ask her about that. You can ask her about her experience there and why she's trying to broaden her choices to her own website and potentially other marketplaces. So she's a wealth of knowledge, and she's more than willing to share what's worked for her. May not work for you, but just keep in mind that this is someone who's actually been in the barrel and done it. And then Thursday, believe it or not, is our final class. I'm available to everybody, by appointment or whatever, anytime. So don't feel like this is goodbye, because it isn't. I'll stay in touch. And as many of you know, you'll get weird emails from me or stuff saying, hey, why don't you do this? So I'm paying attention at what you're doing out there. But on Thursday is a very unique opportunity for all of you. And as a contact, I want you all to have. His name is John Layock, and he's basically the exporting guy for the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, which is a quasi-state organization. They're combined, the Department of Commerce with private enterprises pay for this organization. And John's job is to find people who want to export to other countries. So he's very aware that you guys are small and new. And so he's going to talk about programs that are out there to help you grow and help you export to other places, money that's available for expansion. He's just a wealth of knowledge, and more importantly, he's a resource for you. He wants to help. As a state, this is a high priority for the state to really grow exports. North Carolina happens to have a lot of exporting in things like sweet potatoes and soybeans and junk like that. Not junk, but stuff like that. But there are other opportunities in China that we've talked about. Do you have something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could put the link up to his information and website so we could kind of prep for that, because it sounds like quite a bit to absorb.
Yeah, I will. It should be on the calendar if you go to member resources.
Okay.
I think all that's on there, his information and title and email and all that. But I'll double check. If it's not, I'll definitely put it on Slack. But yeah, John Lack. So he's going to be the guest speaker Thursday. And then that's our final class for this scenario. And, please don't hesitate to sign up again if you feel you can gain from it. It's free. Love to have you. There's no problem there at all. And if you know anyone else you think would benefit, please, the application is on our website. It's a link about, apply to Accelerate Rural. And, love to help people figure out how to do all this stuff. So any other questions or thoughts everybody has?
Good
All right. Okay, well, thanks everybody for your kind time and attention and listening to the fire hose of information that comes at you every day. I'm so glad I'm not on your end of the agreement. So I try to put all the links and record it, but if you need something, don't hesitate to reach out and I'll get it to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.